finally slightly, and it's going to continue to be that roller coaster climb as we inch closer to Sunday and Monday. Right now you're looking at 95, Bullhead City, Lake Havasu City. So here's a look at your radar. Yesterday we had an active morning. Right now we're clear for Phoenix, but you can see that monsoonal rotation here, that clockwise turn of the clouds, and that is what is expected to bring up storms once again this weekend, and we'll talk more about that coming up in my full forecast.
All right, Jen, thank you so much. At 4:33, we're turning to check to your morning commute. 12 News journalist Tricia Hendricks, she's out and about this morning, checking out all across town. She's checking to see if these IT issues will impact your morning commute.
Okay, so Tricia, we want to get to you now. You've been driving around, checking in at our gas stations and the valley roadways. What have you seen so far?
Good morning, guys. Well, there's a certain area where the billboards are completely dark. That's in the north part of the valley off of the Loop 101 near Tatum Boulevard. So in one direction, heading westbound, that digital billboard is completely up and running. It's actually one of the ADOT boards. In the eastbound direction, it's dark. So I don't know if that has anything to do with what we're talking about this morning, but that is something that you may notice. As I made my way downtown Phoenix, it looked like all the billboards were up and running, those ADOT message boards. But here in the East Valley, where we are off of the US 60 and Country Club Drive, there's a billboard that shows just a big blue screen. It says recovery, pretty large. And at the bottom of it, it looks like a computer screen that's trying to reboot. So that is something that we're going to keep tabs on as the morning moves along. Something else that I want to mention here, just across the way at Circle K, earlier at about 1 o'clock this morning, our photojournalist was out here and noticed a sign, just a paper sign posted on the door. They said that they were having issues with processing any credit and debit payments. So they were saying, this is a cash only store for the time being. Now, I just went inside and it looks like people are filling up as normal. All the signs are lit up. And I spoke with a gentleman that works inside Circle K that told me it's been a little finicky, for more or less in different words. But he did say it started working at about 2 o'clock, and then it's been kind of having some issues here and there. So he still said cash is best if you're making a payment for gas or anything in their convenience store, but that in some cases, the debit and credit card payments are working. So different things that we're experiencing around the valley, observing or keeping our eyes peeled, because it seems to be affecting a number of different businesses and lines of work. But again, nothing confirmed saying that it's tied to this situation. Back to you guys in the studio.
Okay, Tricia, thank you so much. And we just want to mention that a lot of this was happening overnight while you were sleeping. So many of these systems are starting to come back online this morning. So we'll continue to update you as we do get that information in about what is running back to normal now, what's back on normal operations. But in the meantime, we're going to turn to our other local headlines for you, including this. Yesterday, U.S. Marshals, they were involved in a shooting in a Tempe neighborhood. Well, this morning we have learned one person is dead. We can tell you no local law enforcement officers were hurt.
12 News journalist Chase Golightly is joining us from that Tempe neighborhood. It's located near McClintock and Southern, and he's telling us about what we know about those suspects.
The U.S. Marshal Service tells us they were going after a fugitive wanted by Chandler police for burglary and selling stolen goods. But when they arrived to this Tempe neighborhood, that's when they said the shooting began. This video shows deputy marshals running for cover as a barrage of bullets were fired in Tempe. It's not clear if law enforcement fired first or if it was the person they were after. But the chaotic echoes were heard throughout the entire neighborhood.
I couldn't believe my ears what I was hearing.
Several neighbors, including Matt Marcus, walked outside to see what was happening.
I just heard some gunfire and didn't know what was going on, so came out to take a look and heard the cops on the mic saying for the guy to stop setting his house on fire and come out with his hands up and put the gun down.
Watching as several SWAT teams swarmed the area. Then they saw this, the home on fire. Crews doing all they could to knock down the flames.
It's pretty crazy, just billowing up into the sky.
Caleb Britton lives right behind the home.
It was pretty scary that the SWAT team, the fire department, everyone was behind their trucks.
He watched as the flames spread when an officer warned him of what they found in the home's garage.
They said that there were some pressurized tanks in the garage. The fire might get to them and it might blow, so we heard some smaller pops.
After hours of spraying down the house, firefighters were able to get the upper hand. Hours later, the U.S. Marshals Service said the shooting was fatal, but didn't specifically say if it was that fugitive that died. We're in Tempe. Chase Golightly, 12 News Today in AZ.
We turn now to Decision 2024. On the final night of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, former President Donald Trump formally accepting the Republican Party's presidential nomination.
With his family looking on, the former president taking a more somber tone, thanking those who saved him and describing in detail that assassination attempt that could have ended his life just 5 days earlier. Here's NBC's Alice Barr in Milwaukee.
A convention crescendo as former President Trump officially accepts his party's nomination, addressing passionate supporters for the first time since the attempted assassination against him.
I raised my right arm, looked at the thousands and thousands of people that were breathlessly waiting, and started shouting, "Fight, fight, fight."
The former president pressing for unity in a speech rewritten after the attempt on his life.
We rise together or we fall apart. I am running to be president for all of America, not half of America.
But it soon shifted to rally mode with more divisive references to election cheaters and mass deportations of migrants. Former First Lady Melania Trump making a rare appearance. The Trump family sitting alongside new vice presidential nominee Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. The former president's son Eric sharing a personal view.
I'm honored to be your son.
In a moment of showmanship, famed WWE wrestler Hulk Hogan praising his longtime friend's strength.
With our leader up there, my hero, that gladiator, we're gonna bring America back together.
The show of unity in stark contrast to the turmoil over President Biden's future at the top of the Democratic ticket. The new Republican running mates hoping to ride this night's energy through the final months of a presidential campaign like no other. In Milwaukee, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Let's take things to the other side of the political aisle now. The calls for President Joe Biden to drop out of the presidential race, those continue to grow louder. The Associated Press is now reporting high-level Democrats are urging President Biden to rethink his candidacy and drop out of the race.
So where do Arizona Democrat leaders stand? 12 News journalist Bianca Bono reached out to some of our state's top Democrats. Right now, she's sharing what they had to say.
12 days away from Arizona's primary election, and questions loom large around the Democratic nominee for president.
We're just not going to really deal in hypotheticals. There's going to be a lot of hypotheticals altogether.
On Thursday, as more Democrats across the country come forward, calling on President Biden to drop out of the race, Arizona Democratic candidate for Senate Ruben Gallego was asked for his thoughts.
I've been very clear with him and with Arizonans that he needs to prove to me and to Arizonans that he is up for the campaign.
Other Arizona Democrats not willing to comment Thursday.
We are getting
12 News attempting to hear from Governor Katie Hobbs at a downtown event. She declined to speak with us. Instead, her team saying she'll be available on Friday.
She's on her way literally right now to another event.
Also at the same event, Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego, who also declined to comment. This, as NBC News reports, those close to President Biden believe the writing is on the wall.
I'm not going to speak, for my colleagues. I will say that there are differing views.
The Hill reporting Vice President Kamala Harris is expected to become the nominee if Biden drops out. And a top contender for her running mate, Arizona Senator Mark Kelly.
President Biden and Kamala Harris are our nominees. Millions of Americans voted for them across the country.
If the unprecedented happens and Biden does step aside, his pledged delegates would likely meet at the Democratic National Convention to confirm a new candidate.
That was Bianca Bono reporting for us. We have reached out to Senator Mark Kelly's team for comment regarding the reports about him being a potential VP pick. So far, we have not heard back.
Well, stick around, Arizona. Much more to come as we have another check on that Friday morning drive. We're tracking dangerous temperatures as well on this weather impact alert day. Plus, we will have the latest news from right here at home about this worldwide outage that is affecting banks, airlines, and businesses. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, Arizona. Today is a weather impact alert day as an excessive heat warning is covering parts of Maricopa and Pinal counties.
We want to make sure you are prepared when you head out the door. Right now, we're checking in with meteorologist Jen Wall, who's joining us live from the 12 News studio. Jen, you're breaking down our forecast on this weather impact alert day. Jen, are you standing by there? You can see the excessive heat warning map is up right now. We do know those temperatures are dangerously hot as we're monitoring them all across the valley and the state of Arizona.
Yeah, and just a heads up, that warning is going to be in effect not only today, but as well as tomorrow. So we're going to let Jen get more of the data collected here, and then she'll join us in just a few minutes with more on that forecast as you start to plan your weekend. But let's move to this in other local news. The city of Scottsdale considering adjusting its sales tax, and it's asking voters to decide at the ballot this November. But some local residents, well, they're worried that the question that is going on the ballot does not accurately represent what the new sales tax will really be.
They are fighting the ballot measure, saying what may look like a decrease in taxes is actually a tax hike. Right now, we're checking in with 12 News journalist Sean Rice.
Words matter.
There's an obligation not to mislead, not to obscure anything.
Especially on a ballot question involving taxpayer money, says Scott Freeman, a senior attorney for the Goldwater Institute.
It tries to convince voters that by voting in favor of this new tax, they'll be lowering their taxes, when in fact they'll be increasing them.
30 years ago, Scottsdale residents approved a 0.2% sales tax increase. That money was used to acquire new land in North Scottsdale. But that tax rate is set to expire at the end of June 2025. And in response, the city wants voters to approve a new sales tax rate of 0.15% for upgrades to parks and staffing for police and fire. The city argues 0.15 is less than 0.2, which would effectively drop the sales tax rate.
So what happens is that 0.2% tax goes to zero, and then a new 0.15% tax is added. That is raising your taxes, and that does not come across in the ballot language.
Freeman represents 3 Scottsdale taxpayers who disagree with the city's assertion. They argue that framing this question as a tax reduction is a, quote, bait and switch.
We're reducing this current tax. I mean, that's the language from the ballot measure. Never mind that when this new tax goes into effect, that tax will be reduced to zero automatically. They shouldn't do anything like that.
In a Maricopa County courtroom Thursday, an attorney representing the city said a very politically activated minority is asking a judge to take away the choice from voters. The city declined an interview, instead issuing a statement saying they are confident that the voters fully understand the ballot measure.
We're hoping for a favorable court ruling, and that will send a message to other localities that when proposing these things, they need to speak plainly and directly to the voters.
Sean Rice, 12 News.
We do want to turn back now to your weather impact forecast with meteorologist Jen Wohl.
Jen, we know you've been perfecting that forecast, working on it. What do we need to know right when we step out the door?
Yeah, good morning to you. It is a hot one already. We're in the mid-90s around the valley. Temperatures only climbing this afternoon, and it is a weather impact alert day. We've been telling you about it for several days now, and it's finally here. So upper 80s, Scottsdale, Deer Valley right now, low 90s, Tempe, Phoenix, Glendale, Avondale, Goodyear. Good morning to all of you. 90 in Mesa. Hey, it's a couple 80s out there, but it's still toasty. Gilbert, Queen Creek, Santan Valley, mid to upper 80s. We have an excessive heat warning. It's in effect right now through Saturday evening. We also have an air quality alert to tell you about. These both include the valley, that one because of higher than normal ozone. So back to that excessive heat warning. You can see it does include the Phoenix area, western Arizona, parts of southern Nevada, and southeastern California. So a very wide stretch here for these dangerously hot temperatures over the next 24 plus hours. We want to get you now to your satellite radar because yesterday it was very active in the morning. This morning we had a very slight chance for those storms popping up. Right now you can see mostly northern, eastern, and southeastern Arizona in the form of clouds. Zooming you in closer to the valley, you might notice some cloud cover depending upon your city. You can see this line stretching here from Phoenix to the West Valley, and then just south of Casa Grande, there's one little cell dropping some rain there, some locally heavy rain. But for now, we're dry. We'll let you know if any of that changes in your forecast with the radar. So we also want to show you your 12 News exclusive monsoon meter. We're at a 6 for northern Arizona today. That is where most of the action is expected to happen, along with the White Mountains for gusty wind, heavy rain, and hail in the valley. We are at a 2, so a very slight chance for those storms this afternoon and evening. 114 your high today in Phoenix, 97 Sedona, 117 Parker, 116 Lake Havasu. Here's your weather impact alert days with slight storm chances tomorrow too. And then I want to show you Sunday, a 50% chance for storms afternoon and evening. Could be very busy into your early Monday morning. So we'll talk more about that in my full forecast.
And it's nice to actually see a couple of numbers on that monsoon meter. So hoping for some of those storms to make their way to us. Thank you so much. And still to come, we're continuing to monitor the international outage. It's impacting a so many businesses, including flights. We've even noticed some local gas stations that have been impacted, hospitals. It's a massive disruption. It's knocking banks offline, media outlets off the air, and affecting even smaller things like digital billboards around town.
Well, as Emily mentioned, there's some issues at Phoenix Sky Harbor as well. We're working to learn if that does have to do with this outage. We have it all covered for you. Stay with us here on 12 News as this is a developing situation. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Arizona. We do continue our coverage now of the global IT outage. The CEO of CrowdStrike, this is the American cybersecurity company that appears to have inadvertently disrupted IT's operations globally. Well, it has now released a statement on social media saying they are, quote, actively working with customers who were impacted by a defect found in a single content update for Windows hosts.
Now, that company is actually based in Austin, Texas. It goes on to say this is, quote, not a security incident. It is also not a cyber attack. The company says they have identified the issue and they say a fix has been deployed. We will continue to track this major outage throughout the morning for you. We're checking on those local updates and how many people are being impacted, and we'll always be working to get the very latest information.
Now, we do know several airlines have grounded flights, and other global airlines, banks, telecommunication companies, and health services around the world are still dealing with disruptions. In the next half hour, we're going to check back in with 12 News journalist Jade Cunningham, who is live at Phoenix Sky Harbor, where we were already seeing some backups at the Delta counters this morning, and all of those flight tracking monitors there completely blacked out this morning. Now, we're working to confirm if that's related to this outage, but we know disruptions are happening here locally.
Our Trisha Hendricks is also out on the roads. She was checking in at a local gas station that said overnight they were asking people to use cash. It does sound like some of those debit and credit card issues have been restored, but share with us what you're seeing.
Okay, so let's turn to this now. Matt Ishbia, the owner of Phoenix Mercury and the Suns, just unveiled his $100 million investment into new practice courts.
12 News journalist and sports reporter Lena Washington caught up with the GOAT, the one and only Diana Taurasi, after having the new practice courts named after her.
I'm curious what you would tell like the UConn freshman version of Diana, seeing this and looking back on what you've created here in the Valley.
The last couple days I've had a lot of time to just reminisce a little bit of being here for 20 years and how far we've come as a franchise, as a city. It's a beautiful thing, and what Matt's been able to do, it's really give us a new look of what this city is. It's the future in a lot of ways, and this facility really symbolizes that.
We saw you get a little emotional when you set foot in here. Does Diana Taurasi cry? Have you shed a tear at all?
I didn't shed a tear, but there's certain moments in your career that just stand out, and you always want to leave things better than you found them. To be able to say that this court's going to be here for the next generation of Mercury players means a lot.
It's a flex to be practicing on your own court, though.
It's pretty cool, you know? I guess you got to bring it every day, huh?
We are just about a week out from the opening ceremony. I mean, what are the feelings like? It's getting real now.
You know, there's always something about the Olympics that's amazing. And I always say opening ceremonies, this is when it really hits. When you're standing there and the whole delegation is there with you. So we're excited. Today was our first practice. Saturday will be a step in the right direction for our team, and we're really excited.
Thank you for joining us on this Friday morning. I'm Emily Pritchard.
I'm Allison Rodriguez, and you may have noticed things look a little different this morning on Today in AZ due to some technical issues, but we are still committed to having you covered with everything you need to know to get your Friday going. We do continue to cover a major global Microsoft outage this morning, a tech malfunction crippling airports, businesses, and government services around the world today. Much of this happening while we were sleeping, and as you wake up this morning, we're dealing with the aftermath. The disruption appears to stem from a software update pushed by cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike.
Now, that company is based out of Austin, Texas, and the company sells antivirus software to large corporations and government clients, including major global banks, healthcare companies, and energy companies. Computers running Microsoft Windows, which is a CrowdStrike client, were crashing, all because of a defect in a software update.
That's right. The CEO of CrowdStrike is stressing the outages were not caused by any security incident or a cyber attack, but the company is saying this was an isolated issue and they have already deployed a fix.
Meanwhile, we do know there have been some impacts due to this. United, Delta, and American Airlines had flights grounded, according to the Federal Aviation Administration. And we did just get an update from Delta Airlines this morning that they are back up and running. They say they have resumed some flight departures due to that technology, and they're issuing travel waivers for some people today due to these issues we've seen. We saw long lines at Sky Harbor. At one point last night, there were more than 200 delays nationally.
Okay, so we turn to Phoenix officials here. The city officials are telling us the city's computerized 911 dispatch center, that's also been affected by this global outage. But if you need emergency police services, you can still call 911. That is not affected here. Call center workers are just dispatching officers manually.
And the city did add one important note. They say stay on the line if you need emergency services because you may be put on a brief hold. Just remember, stay on that line and you can call 911. We will continue to update you throughout the morning as we do continue to learn more. And we have team coverage of this for you.
Absolutely. We're going to start now with 12 News journalist Trisha Hendricks, who was driving around this morning and noticed some of those digital billboards around our freeways were dark or they had error messages, plus some coworkers experiencing problems at local gas stations.
12 News journalist Trisha Hendricks has been driving around town working to learn more on how this outage will impact you as you head out the door. Right now we're getting out to Trisha. Trisha, what are you seeing and where are you at this morning?
Good morning, guys. Well, we're just off of the 68 Country Club Drive, and as you can see, this is the billboard we were referring to earlier. It simply just says recovery with pretty much a blank screen. It says it looks like Windows didn't load correctly. So it's been like that for quite some time this morning. And that is actually a billboard off the 60, but earlier it was the ADOT message board. So in North Phoenix, near the Loop 101 and 56th Street around Tatum, heading in the westbound direction, things looked fine on those boards, but in the eastbound direction, it was completely dark. So it was kind of hard to make out where and why and, which ones are affected and not. So then heading down the freeway to the downtown area, I noticed that those ADOT boards were all working correctly. When I connected with photojournalist Brett this morning, he had been to a number of locations, at Circle K in particular, where they were experiencing issues with credit card and debit card payments not working properly. So they just kind of had a paper posted on the door saying, just a heads up, we're taking cash only payments here. We just stopped by there earlier and got an update that they had everything up and running at 2 o'clock, so about an hour later. And then since then, they've had on and off problems. So while some payments are going through, others are not. So they are recommending still, if you can, cash payments only for gas and anything you may be purchasing in the convenience stores. Now, we don't know if it's affecting any of the other Circle K locations, but that one in particular right now near the US 68 Country Club is. So we'll keep you updated as the morning moves along, guys.
Okay, Trisha, thank you. And again, this is a developing situation, so we'll continue to bring you updates throughout the morning. But on top of that breaking news, another headline we're following for you this morning is the dangerous weather as we do head into the weekend.
We're all going to feel it. We're getting right over to meteorologist Jen Wall, who is tracking today's weather impact alert day. And Jen, help us get prepared for this as we head out the door.
Yeah, good morning to you. Weather impact alert, all because of heat. And can I give a big shout out to our IT department who worked really hard overnight to give get our weather system back up and running because it had some issues as well. So really grateful for those folks who were getting everything going for us early this morning so we can tell you about this excessive heat warning. We can track their radar and make sure we're keeping you updated on everything weather related heading into your weekend. Excessive heat warning, that's the big talk of the day today and tomorrow. Temperatures hovering around 116. So you're going to want to reduce your time outside. Highs very hot across those lower deserts. We've been telling you all week long it's finally here. So we've actually dropped off a couple degrees on our current temperatures. 92 Phoenix, still very warm outside though in those lower deserts. 67 Prescott, beautiful up north. 75 Kingman, 55 Flagstaff. Don't we all wish we were there right now? 64 Show Low, 85 Casa Grande, 92 Gila Bend, 95 Lake Havasu City. Here's your satellite radar. I'm going to continue watching this morning just to see if anything develops, but so far we've stayed pretty dry. It was only a very slight chance for storms this morning. Yesterday, very active. This morning, you can see it's staying confined for the most part right now. Northern, eastern, and southeastern Arizona. We've got one lightning strike. That's pretty far south of Valley, even south of Casa Grande. There is one current storm right now, but other than that, we're quiet. And coming up, we're going to get a look at your 7-day forecast heading into the weekend, what you can expect.
Thank you, Jen, for getting us ready for it all and our weekend. And the heat is going to continue to be a major story. This morning, you're only going to see this here on 12 News. A heat emergency unfolded right before our eyes. 12 News journalist Joe Dana actually called 911 after seeing a man on the ground in downtown Phoenix.
So once first responders arrived, Joe then kicked into journalist mode. Want to let you know this is a raw, up-close look at what firefighters encounter and also how random strangers really stepped up to help here. Take a look.
It is very unsettling to watch a heat emergency take place right in front of you. That's what happened to me Wednesday morning. I'm driving here along Roosevelt, and I see a man lying flat on his back here near the bus stop in the sun. It's over 100 degrees. I jump out of my car. There's a second man standing here, but he doesn't have a cell phone. We pull him over to a shaded area right here. I call 911.
Unconscious person, 7th Street and Roosevelt Street.
The man's in his mid-30s. His eyes appear to be sort of rolled back. He's breathing, but he's not responding as we're trying to talk to him.
Meanwhile, Luis sees us through the window of his barbershop. He keeps an emergency stash of Narcan for drug overdose patients. Luis sprayed Narcan in the victim's nostril.
You came out there fast and you had the Narcan ready to go.
Yeah, I had to, man. I've seen people overdose myself, man. I'm an addict myself.
A fentanyl addict. Luis is almost 2 years sober.
That was hard, man. I don't wish that on nobody.
Then
my partner and I drove by and we saw you guys all in this group and we thought, well, something's going on.
Phoenix Police Sergeant Blake Hammond and his partner arrived. And then firefighters. They hooked up the man to an IV and placed him in a cold water immersion bag meant to rapidly bring down his body temperature. A new tool the department is using this year, one they just demonstrated for us earlier this month. Phoenix Fire says they're deploying an average of 3 cooling bags a day right now. At this scene, firefighters need more ice.
We still utilized everybody around us too. Some of these restaurants were nice enough to bring out buckets.
At 10:37 a.m., less than 20 minutes after I called 911, medics are sending him to the hospital. He's still not responsive.
We're just trying to get this guy ID to help him out.
Sergeant Hammond says this cut straw is a sign the man may have taken fentanyl.
I don't know if it belongs to this gentleman because he was unconscious when we showed up. Odds are it may be, who knows?
It's the heat, humidity, it can be drugs too. It's a combination of both.
The fact that they brought out Narcan and got it in him gives them better odds?
It can.
If drugs are not a factor here, the heat alone is enough to kill. Already this year, the county is investigating 322 heat-related deaths, double the number compared to last year at this time.
Hopefully it makes it, man. It's praying for him.
We don't know yet if this unnamed patient, treated by a team of impromptu helpers, has survived. Health privacy laws keep us from knowing what happened to him at the hospital. It may take weeks before we find out.
We did a lot of interventions. They're going to figure it out in the hospital to see if any of our interventions make an effect.
19 minutes on a Phoenix street, a glimpse into what first responders see every day. In Phoenix, Joe Dana, 12 News.
Again, that's just a glimpse of what you can experience on any day and how it's impacting so many different people. This is just another reminder to drink plenty of water and always find a cool place to stay during our intense summer heat.
So we want to let you know the Burton Bar Central Library, that is one of several cooling centers available around Maricopa County, and the library is open 24/7 if you need the help. Maybe that's too far for you. You can find the nearest cooling center in your neighborhood through a searchable map that we have online right now at 12news.com, or you can always call 211.
And right now we're turning to our other local headlines. The deaths of 3 people found after an apartment fire near 48th Street and Ray Road has now been ruled a triple homicide. You may remember we first brought this to you as breaking news on Monday.
So this morning, 12 News journalist Gabriela Becerra has new details on one of the victims.
Sam's the best man you could know.
A great friend and a perfect brother is how family is remembering Samuel Lott.
The world's going to be different without him.
Douglas Lott did not know last Saturday would be the last time he'd see his brother.
We had told each other he loved you. He left the house.
But when Samuel stopped responding to text messages, he knew something was wrong.
That kind of threw a red flag, so I started to get a little concerned.
Phoenix police say 37-year-old Samuel Lott is one of 3 people found dead in an apartment after a fire on Monday morning. Investigators think they were killed before the fire even started. Samuel and the other victims, 27-year-old Marissa Honeycutt and 25-year-old Anthony Fredrickson Ceccarelli, were found with signs of trauma.
It kills us to think that somebody would hurt someone who's so loving.
Douglas says he's not sure how his brother knew the other victims.
We're learning things minute by minute, just like everybody else.
And he's hoping anyone who knows what happened to Samuel will come forward.
Anybody who knew him wouldn't have committed something like that.
And that was 12 News journalist Gabriela Becerra reporting.
So these days, it's pretty hard to imagine a world without technology, even given what's happening today. And a lot of that has to do with the phones that so many of us have at our hands or nearby. It's so common you see kids everywhere with them, but there could be dangers, of course, associated with them.
Of course, it's not just us, the adults, it's also children. And 12 News journalist Brenda Lipinski spoke with a cyber safety expert. She's sharing tips on how to keep our kids safe and also happy.
Deciding how and when kids can use technology is a common discussion for parents nowadays. Kenneth Pitts says he and his wife let their kids use tablets, but with conditions.
So before they can activate any of the games that they prefer, we make them do a certain amount of reading, a certain amount of learning apps and videos.
Carrie Williamson says her teens just now started using phones.
It's overwhelming. I'm an older mom. So there's a huge gap in the technology that was available to me.
And says she's not allowing them to use social media until they're 16.
I know a lot of the kids use some of these apps for their primary communication method, but my kids are going to have to figure out a different way to do that.
Clayton Cranford is a former school resource officer and founder of cybersafetycop.com, who says parents should be more engaged in their kids' technology.
The number of children who are hurting themselves, self-injury to deal with their feelings has gone up. So our children have turned away from healthy ways of dealing with their feelings to use phones to take care of that for them. And this is not healthy. This has to change. And I'm afraid it won't change until parents wake up to this and take a stand.
Recommending parents use apps to monitor their kids' usage.
And the other thing too is you need to be aware of what's happening. So probably one of the easiest things you can do is install an application on your child's device that runs in the background and looks for problems and alerts you when they find them.
And says parents should probably wait until after age 16 to allow for social media.
Every family's different. You could have a family that has a very specific need for a child to have a phone. But I think in general, I think it's okay to give maybe your middle schooler a phone, 7th or 8th grade, but it shouldn't be a smartphone. It should be a flip phone that doesn't have connections to the internet or social media.
And he says talking to your kids about the risks and harms of social media is important, as well as creating an open dialogue.
So the parent saying to their child, if you come to me and you tell me that you have a problem, even if you've made a mistake, it's okay, I want to help you. And if you do that, if I can, I'm not going to take your phone away. I'm not going to take it all away, your connection to your friends. Now, if there's a crime involved, maybe the phone needs to get taken away. But most cases, a parent can handle that at their level.
Brenda Lipinski, 12 News.
Still ahead for you this morning, Arizona, we continue to cover this international breaking news. A massive IT outage affecting communities all over the world, including Arizona. So we are reaching out to our local hospitals, city officials, and police departments to bring you the very latest updates. Plus, we are tracking flight disruptions at Phoenix Sky Harbor.
I just checked nationally. FlightAware says there's more than 1,000 delays across the entire country. So this is having an impact. Plus, we've got another look at your forecast on this weather impact alert day due to our extreme heat. That's all coming up right here on Today in AZ.
Welcome back, Arizona, to Today in AZ. Our show does look a little different this morning, but we do continue to follow breaking news of a global IT outage. Valley 911 systems and airlines at Phoenix Sky Harbor are affected by this issue. And we have just heard moments ago from airport officials who say delays and cancellations there are related to this outage.
An update from a major cybersecurity provider appears to have also brought the so-called blue screen of death to computers around the world. Maybe you've experienced this. Outages locally include the Phoenix Police Department's dispatch center and several airlines at Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. It's important to note with the dispatch center, you can still call 911. They just do encourage, if you're put on hold, to make sure to stay on the line. Now, the outage began around 9 p.m. and it spread quickly throughout the rest of the world.
That's right. Microsoft users worldwide, including banks, airlines, reporting widespread outages hours after the company said it was gradually fixing an issue with Microsoft apps and services. So Microsoft did post a statement on X saying the underlying problem, that has all been fixed, but there will continue to be a ripple effect as all systems are restored. So we are tracking that for you this morning. We did also learn more than 100 flights at Phoenix Sky Harbor have been delayed or canceled as a result of this outage. So airport officials are encouraging you, if you have a flight there today, or maybe you're going to pick someone up, to double check the status of that flight before you head to the airport.
I was just checking those national numbers too, because these are staggering. On FlightAware, their misery map, they list right now across our country, there are more than 1,000 delays and nearly 300 cancellations. So that just gives you an idea of some of the impact this issue is having this morning. And here at home, we do have to turn to another big story we're following, an excessive heat warning. It goes into effect in less than 5 hours.
That's why our weather team has issued a weather impact alert day today. So let's get to meteorologist Jen Wall, who is tracking dangerous weather ahead. And Jen, it's not just today. We have another alert in place tomorrow.
Today and tomorrow, and it impacts the start of your weekend. Then maybe some storms too. So a lot to talk about this morning in our 12 News Weather Center on this weather impact alert day, starting with those warm temperatures across the valley. Low 90s Phoenix, Glendale, upper 80s Sun City, Avondale, looking to the East Valley. A mix of low 90s and upper 80s from Fountain Hills to Mesa Apache Junction, Queen Creek and Gilbert. So here's your excessive heat warning, those dangerously hot temperatures affecting the Phoenix area, western Arizona, southeastern California, and southern Nevada today and tomorrow. We know we hit those hottest times of the day between about 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. So that is going to be the worst. If you are spending any time outside, you're going to want to try to limit that. We also have an air quality alert in effect today, and that is because of higher than normal ozone. So a day like today, you're encouraged to do things like carpooling to help with that. Allergy index, not too much of a concern at this moment. And then UV, of course, extreme, along with the heat risk and that excessive heat warning. Mosquito index for now limited. Your satellite radar, we are watching this closely for anything that could pop up throughout the morning. So far quiet here in the valley. Cloud cover northeast and south, as well as some clouds over Phoenix. There's one thunderstorm cell pretty far south of the Casa Grande, not impacting us in the Phoenix area. Your 12 News exclusive monsoon meter at a 6 for northern Arizona today. This is where we could see the strongest storms, along with the White Mountains firing up again this afternoon and evening. In Rim Country, the valley at a 2. So later today, tonight, could possibly see a few storms. Southeastern Arizona is at a 2 as well. Here's a look at your temperature profile, topping out around 114 in Phoenix between 4 and 6 p.m. the hottest part of the day there. Coming up, we'll get a look at your 7-day forecast, which you can expect for your weekend.
All right, thank you so much, Jen. We appreciate that. It is a very busy morning here on 12 News with this internet outage fallout developing. There are major changes both here at home and also happening around the world. So coming up for you at 5:30, we do continue to get the latest about how your day could be affected.
That's right. And we're also checking in with 12 News journalist Jade Cunningham, who's standing by at Sky Harbor Airport. We'll have an update from her in a moment. And 12 News is dedicated to having you prepared for your Friday and your weekend. We'll be right back on Today in AZ.
Well, we do continue our coverage now of the global IT outage. The CEO of CrowdStrike, that's the American cybersecurity company that appears to have inadvertently disrupted IT statements globally. Well, they have now released a statement on social media saying they are, quote, actively working with customers impacted by a defect found in a single content update for Windows users.
Now, that company is based in Austin, Texas, and they go on to say this is, quote, not a security incident or cyber attack. The company says they have identified the issue and that a fix has been deployed. Now, several airlines were at one point grounded and other global airlines impacted, including banks, telecommunication companies, and healthcare services around our world were experiencing some type of IT disruptions. We have learned from both Delta and American that their services are back up and running, but we do know there are already many impacts to travel this morning. So if you're traveling or you know someone else that's traveling, it's going to be a day where you're going to need a lot of patience.
I mean, we're talking hundreds of delays and cancellations nationally overnight. We looked at Phoenix Sky Harbor, and there are 42 cancellations, and there have been 52 delays. So airport officials are urging you to double check the status of your flight before you head to the airport, because there's a lot of backups that have already started as a result of this. Now, this morning, the cybersecurity founder and CEO did speak with Hoda Kotb on the Today Show about what happened. Here's what he had to say.
So first, thank you for giving me the opportunity to chat with you first on air. And I want to start with saying we're deeply sorry for the impact that we've caused to customers, to travelers, to anyone affected by this, including our companies. So we know what the issue is. We're resolving and have resolved the issue now. It's recovering systems that are out there. And essentially, as you've talked about, and the statement I put out is, the system was sent an update, and that update had a software bug in it and caused an issue with the Microsoft operating system. And we identified this very quickly and remediated the issue. And as systems come back online, as they're rebooted, they're coming up and they're working. And now we are working with each and every customer to make sure that we can bring them back online.
And we will continue to track this major outage for you throughout your Friday morning and bring you the very latest information as it happens live with you here on air.
As a matter of fact, our 12 News journalist Jade Cunningham is at Sky Harbor Airport right now. She's going to join us later this morning with how this outage is impacting flights there and the backup that has already started. Much more to come after the break, Arizona. thanks so much for joining us on this busy Friday morning. I'm Ellison Rodriguez.
I'm Emily Pritchard, and we do know things look a little bit different for you this morning right here on Today in AZ. We are having some technical issues. However, we are dedicated to still bringing you everything you need to know to get your day started.
So we're going to begin now with breaking news. A global IT outage causing major issues, and we do have team coverage for you this morning locally and internationally. Now, we have just learned some banks have been impacted by this outage. We're seeing several people share on social media that they have not received their paychecks yet. But again, we are confirming and reaching out to our local banks to see if any issues with paychecks or exchanging of money here is because of this outage that we're tracking.
And we're also checking in with some of our local departments across the valley. The city of Phoenix tells us the city's computerized 911 dispatch center has also been affected. But here's the important part. If you need emergency police services, you still can call 911 because call center workers are dispatching officers manually. But they do remind you to stay on the line just in case they need to put you on a brief hold. So stay on that line, but you can call 911. The city also shared on X just minutes ago they are affected by this outage, but essential services will continue.
So now let's get to 12 News journalist Jade Cunningham, who is live for us this morning from Phoenix Sky Harbor. Now, throughout the night, there were ground stops issued. So Jade, we want to know how departures and flights are looking now. When we check back in with you in our 4:30 half hour here, all those screens behind you were blank.
Yes, so definitely we are seeing some improvement here at Phoenix Sky Harbor. So there's definitely some good news to report here. Yes, earlier we saw all these computer monitors, they were black. They weren't even up and running. They were having some issues with that. Those are now back on. There was a departure board that was also off that showed all the departure flights scheduled. That is now back up as well. Earlier when you saw us, there was a line at this Delta ticket counter basically wrapping around this terminal. It has significantly gone down. There is still a line, but the good news is that it is moving. And, you know, we were here earlier this morning. We have watched as this line just grew and grew and grew. And look, this is not an ideal situation. People here, people we have spoken with, they are making the best of it. Those I've spoken with, they are in good spirits. Of course, they are frustrated with what's going on, but they were patiently waiting and they were very optimistic that, you know, eventually they will end up in their final destination. One woman and her husband, they told me they were trying to make an Alaskan cruise. Another was trying to make a wedding in Detroit. Some people I spoke with, they had been waiting here overnight, some sleeping at the airport as well. And look, it does seem like that the people who have flights today are able to make their flight. Not in every situation, of course. It's encouraged that people check with their carrier before if they are flying out somewhere today. But it does seem like the people who are flying out today are able to make their flights. It's the people who had their flights canceled or grounded overnight that are really experiencing the brunt of this. You know, several airlines, they were down, Delta, Allegiant, United. American was earlier, but they are back up and running. United issuing a statement saying that as we work to fully restore these systems, some flights are resuming. Many customers traveling today saying they may experience delays. They actually have issued a waiver to make it easier to change travel plans. So if you are flying United today, you want to go to united.com or use the United app to double check the status of your flight. Spirit Airlines also issuing a statement as well about this situation, saying that due to the outage, we are currently unable to rebook guests whose travel plans have been disrupted, that they will assist the guests as soon as possible when the vendor restores service with this IT company. So again, there is still there are impacts here at Phoenix Sky Harbor, but the good news is that things do slowly seem to be kind of getting back to normal just a little bit. If you are flying out at Phoenix Sky Harbor today, it is so crucial that you check with your carrier to check the status of your flight. And then, you know, if you need to, you can call out to them as well just to get the latest information. We are going to be following this story, so stay with 12 News for the latest. We're going to send it back to you guys.
We appreciate that update, Jade, and of course, so happy to see some of those monitors coming back on because that's what you expect when you head to the airport. And now we're heading from the air To the roads. If you are getting out and about on this Friday morning, the IT issues could also impact your morning commute.
Okay, so 12 News journalist Trisha Hendricks at 426 was highlighting an issue at a local gas station not accepting debit and credit cards that seemed to have resolved. But then it was the digital billboards along the freeway that were rebooting. She joins us now from our Valley roads as she's checking out the other impacts here. So Trisha, what are you seeing now?
Good morning once again, Alice, and we're approaching the 56th Street exit in North Phoenix along the Loop 101, and you can see that ADOT message board there on the right side of the road. It appears to be working this morning. Now that one was working a few hours ago, but in the opposite direction there was the digital billboard that was completely dark earlier. So we are keeping our eyes peeled to see if there are any other boards affected. Making our way down to downtown Phoenix, yes, that board in the opposite direction is still dark. So we don't know if that's tied to this global IT outage or not, but we are noticing some different things popping up around our Valley roadways. Not affecting drivers, so hopefully it stays that way for your morning commute, but you may just notice some differences along our roadways with the digital billboards. Earlier we were off of Country Club Drive in the US 60, and you can see that billboard, not an ADOT message board, that was actually a clear channel board, and that had that big large recovery written across it saying that the computer system had to reboot. So that was also dark. Circle K also experiencing issues with debit and credit card transactions, saying if you do plan to go fill up or buy anything at their convenience stores, at least at that location, that they are recommending you pay with cash. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Trisha, thank you so much. Our other top story for you this morning, cannot forget to speak about the heat. We're talking dangerous temperatures settling in just as we head into the weekend. We want to bring in meteorologist Jen Wall with your Friday forecast.
Jen, we also have a weather impact alert day activated for both today and tomorrow. Right now you're tracking dangerous heat, but also the potential for monsoon storms. Help us get out and ready for the weekend.
Yes, good morning to you. All of the summer action expected to hit us in the Valley and around the state. Starting today, that excessive heat warning from the National Weather Service kicks in at 10 o'clock this morning, and your highs 108 to 116 with this one. So make sure, especially during those hottest hours of the day, that you're just trying to stay indoors, stay cool, and stay in that shade or a swimming pool near you. It's Friday. 92 waking up warm in Phoenix, 67 Prescott, 66 Payson, nice and comfortable up north, and we're seeing 90s and 80s from Gila Bend all the way to Casa Grande. So your future cast into motion here. We're pausing it this afternoon, 1:30. There's only about a 20% chance for storms here in the Valley. We're dry right now, clear on radar, but we do see the pop-up thunderstorms this afternoon again up north, east, and south. This has been the story throughout the week. Pausing it now at about 6 p.m. So dinner time should be pretty dry in the Valley. Overnight tonight, we could get a couple storms, but it's only about a 20% chance for the Phoenix area. We will watch these storm chances increase throughout the weekend. We'll talk about that coming up.
All right, sounds good. Jen, thank you so much. Still ahead this morning, systems worldwide are starting to get back online after a global IT outage. So we're looking at the ripple effect for Arizona communities.
Plus, as monsoon storms do prepare to hit our state, as Jen was just mentioning, how we can all be prepared and ready for whatever the season is set to bring. That and so much more coming up this Friday on Today in AZ.
All right, welcome back, Arizona. This morning, we are staying on top of a global IT outage. Right now, airlines, media organizations, medical facilities, police forces around the world, they're currently being affected by this massive glitch that we have learned has since been fixed. However, getting systems back online after that is what's taking so long. So we do want to focus now on the impact that we're having here at home.
And we are seeing that ripple effect unfolding. We're reaching out to our local healthcare providers to see if their services are affected. Valleywise Health says they continue to provide patient care while some IT systems are impacted. Valleywise says their emergency departments and level 1 trauma center, that remains open. They added that healthcare professionals had to resort to paper medical charting, but that their IT teams are carefully bringing back their systems online.
So we did also speak with a spokesperson at Honor Health who are saying that they have zero issues. They're not affected by this outage. So throughout the morning and possibly the day ahead, you're going to see some service disruptions affecting companies in different ways.
Our other big story on your Friday is our weather impact alert day, and that's all due to our excessive heat. Right now, we're getting over to meteorologist Jen Wall with what you need to know.
Yes, good morning to you. Very hot today and tomorrow in the valley. It's been hot all week, but really dangerous temperatures, especially in those later afternoon hours, waking up to a warm start on your Friday. Happy Friday to you, everybody. Upper 80s in the West Valley this morning, 92 Phoenix, a mix of upper 80s and low 90s from Tempe to Mesa, Gilbert, Queen Creek, Santan Valley, 83 North in Cave Creek. Your excessive heat warning starts officially at 10 o'clock this morning. It does include the greater Phoenix area, western Arizona, southeastern California, and parts of southern Nevada. Now, also included with this, we have an air quality alert to tell you about, all because of ozone levels. So if you're in those high sensitive groups, again, we're staying inside because it's so hot anyway, but just best to be careful about that as well. That is in effect throughout the day today. So you can see that high pollution advisory for air quality, allergy index as we're looking at your conditions outside in the low range. So that's good to report. UV and heat, obviously very extreme this time of year. We are in the middle of July, and then your mosquito index for now limited, but could change with increasing monsoon storms. Right now, dry around the valley, clouds across the northeast and southern parts of our state. We'll watch for any potential small storms to pop up around the valley this morning, but much quieter than yesterday. We've just been watching that one right there. Your monsoon meter at a 6 for the high country, northern Arizona, 5 in the White Mountains, a 2 for the valley, southeastern Arizona. So the best places to get storms today is going to be north and east. Gusty winds, locally heavy rain and hail. We have higher chances coming up around the valley. We'll show you that in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Jen. And sticking with the monsoon action, even though we are right in the middle of monsoon, it's never too late to make sure your yard can withstand the powerful storm systems that could be heading our way.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they could be sometimes the cause of a lot of the damage when these storms pick up. So meteorologist Lauren Rainson, she spoke with a landscaping expert who discussed how exactly you can help your yard withstand strong winds and the rain that monsoon brings.
One of the best ways to prepare for the summer heat and for the monsoon storms is by choosing the right plant for the right place. So this eastern facing tree is actually blocking the house from sunlight and helping to reduce those energy bills by providing shade to the house.
It's all about timing. As we're getting into the hottest months of the year, you definitely don't want to plant anything right now. So let's go over what you want to do to make sure you're ready for the heat and monsoon storms.
Proper irrigation includes watering out to the drip line. So the drip line is going to be where the edge of the canopy of the tree is. So coming out here where that canopy is, and then imagine the line down on the ground. That's where you want to be watering out, or a little bit further to encourage those roots to grow outward.
Urban forester Ryan McCartney also suggests using a smart controller. This way you can set the appropriate time and days for watering. It's important your plants and trees are healthy so they can face intense heat and winds.
By performing proper pruning at the ends or the tips where the branches grow out, that'll reduce the weight on the end of the tips stand up to the actual stress of the wind.
It's nothing too crazy. All of these are very simple steps you could take at home so that you're ready for monsoon 2024.
Making sure the plant is healthy, looking at the root system, making sure those roots aren't circling around, so in the long term they will stand up to those monsoon storms.
Now your yard is all set for the summer.
That was 12 News meteorologist Lauren Rainson reporting for us, and it is a busy Friday morning here on 12 News today in AZ as we continue to monitor that global technology outage.
That's right. We're also following more local stories, including the impact on that. Of course, your weather impact forecasts as we gear up for weather impact alert days. And we're a week away from the opening ceremony to the Olympics. Cannot forget that. We're going to have more on your local Olympics coverage coming up after the break.
We're getting you right back to that breaking news we're following of that massive IT outage. It's impacting several businesses. This includes banks, police forces, and even airports. Just moments ago, the U.S. Department of Transportation shared they are monitoring the technical issues impacting airlines. They say if you are traveling today, remember you have rights. You can check flightrights.gov to check those latest details. There you can use a tool to navigate passenger rights. But we were just checking online, more than 1,200 delays nationwide and 336 cancellations. I can't remember seeing numbers like that before.
Absolutely not. And of course, we want to bring it here at home. At Phoenix Sky Harbor, we know more than 100 flights have either been canceled or delayed. So airport officials are encouraging you to please check your flight status before you head to the airport this morning, as we're going to be seeing the delays and the catch up possibly for days to come. But as we look more here at home at the effects of this outage, the city of Phoenix is telling telling us the city's computerized 911 dispatch center has been affected. But here is important information. If you need emergency police services, you can still call 911, and the call center workers will dispatch officers manually. So just stay on the line. If you do need emergency services, they say you could be put on a brief hold, but stay on the line. They will get you the help that you need. It's 5:54. We're tracking other top stories, including 1 week away from the opening ceremony of the 2024 Summer Olympics. Well, this morning, we're learning some Olympic delegations' arrivals have been delayed because of this outage.
Paris Olympic organizers also say the delivery of uniforms and accreditations are affected too. However, it has not affected ticketing or the torch relay. As 12 News journalist Tram Mai prepares to leave for Paris, another longtime colleague of ours is making sure that Tram is prepared. And we know she's always prepared.
She's been running around trying to get everything ready, but we're so excited. And here now is 12 News journalist Joe Dana with the send-off.
Well, hello there, Tram. My dear friend, I'm here at Vincent, the oldest French restaurant in Phoenix, enjoying some Vichy soise. This is a traditional appetizer soup that you'll find in France. You know, we've been friends for 22 years now. I've seen you cover floods.
And during a swift water rescue effort.
And fires.
You can tell how smoky it is.
Interview influential leaders of our state.
Will it happen?
I'm open-minded.
And so now here you are preparing to embark on a journey to France. Well, I've drawn on some of my best tools. Find people who know stuff about France. Here is some expert advice from some friends around the valley as you prepare to leave.
Bonjour, enchanté de faire votre connaissance. It means hello, nice to meet you.
French-born ASU professor Audrey Sherry just returned from a study abroad trip there.
How would you say Simone Biles will be your worst nightmare?
Simone Biles sera votre pire cauchemar.
And Tram, you'll definitely need a proper breakfast. Jenna Lurquin learned the art of pastries at the world-famous Cordon Bleu cooking school in Paris, now running this bakery.
Tram's gonna need to start her day off right, and that means the perfect croissant, right?
Correct. The ingredients is very important, the butter, the flour, but also the artisanal methods. Sourdough starter, it's higher quality croissants. Tram, I hope you take a second for yourself in the morning, soak in all the pollution of Paris.
Wait a minute, did you say pollution?
Yeah, because you gotta sit on the terrace and really soak in that traffic air, all the cars honking in front of you, that's part of the vibe.
Speaking of vibes, our boy Jimmy at the Luxe Nail and Spa in Scottsdale specializes in French manicures.
Are French manicures in right now? Does Tram need one?
They're always in. I mean, they're always in, especially if she's going to Paris. Girl, if you need a French manicure, I'm your guy.
5, 6.
And my friend, you'll need to get around. When 75-year-old Sun City Pommy, Chris Main, isn't on the dance floor,
Oui, monsieur.
she's touring France.
What is your advice for Tram?
Take the metro, smile at everybody. They're going to absolutely love you. Be prepared to eat some incredible chocolate. I'd be more than happy to escort her and be her personal scribe.
We are back where we started with Chef Vincent, owner of Vincent here on Camelback. What advice do you have for Tram? What are one or two cuisines she must try?
So in Paris, there's a little place, it's called Bertillon. And Bertillon is the most famous place in Paris for ice cream. So you have some wonderful little places, and you have to try those cassoulet or escargots or, wonderful little authentic French dishes.
Now, Tram brings a lot of energy when she communicates with people. I'm a little worried for the French, actually.
You're going to the Super Bowl! Break a leg! Literally! Literally! Don't blame it on Ginger. I was born in the year of the tiger.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Should she kind of be more subdued? Or do they like to communicate in a...
The French?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They don't talk with their hands like the Italians do, but no. She should bring a bottle of wine and then be friendly, and then she like...
With my Evian and your Grand Marnier.
All right, Tram.
Tram, good luck, farewell.
Bon voyage, come back. Au revoir, à bientôt.
Au revoir, is that right?
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Au revoir, Tim.
We are wishing her the best trip, and of course we can't wait to witness the Olympics through her eyes right here on 12 News Today in AZ. And coming up, 12 News journalist Jade Cunningham is monitoring that massive worldwide technology outage. She's live from Phoenix Sky Harbor, checking on how airlines are doing right now who have been impacted by this outage.
We know there are cancellations and delays already this morning. Also still ahead, we're tracking your forecast on this weather impact alert day. Much more to come, Arizona. Keep Good Friday morning, Arizona. Thanks so much for being here on what's turning out to be a very busy start to your day. I'm Allison Rodriguez.
I'm Emily Pritchard, but we're going to get through it together. Now, we know things look a little different here on 12 News Today in AZ. We are having some technical issues this morning, but we are always dedicated to bringing you everything you need to know to get your day started.
So we are going to start this hour now with breaking news that we have been following since overnight, a global IT outage causing issues. We do have team coverage for you locally and internationally. Now, we have just learned banks are being impacted by this outage. We have seen several people post on social media that they have not received their paychecks. We know Friday, typically a payday for so many. So 12 News journalist Tricia Hendricks, she's checking in with our banks here to see the impact on Arizonans. She's going to join us shortly.
Meanwhile, just moments ago, Phoenix police shared that systems have been restored to the police department's 911 call center. They asked that if you did call during that outage to their non-emergency police assistance line, that you do have patience because they are trying to work through that call log. The outage started nationally, we know, around 9 p.m. and then started to affect Phoenix dispatch centers within a few hours of that. Again, thankfully this morning, Phoenix police say their systems are back up and running properly.
Okay, so this outage is also affecting thousands of flights around the world. 12 News journalist Jade Cunningham, she's joining us live now from Phoenix Sky Harbor, where she has been for several hours. Okay, so Jade, how are travelers doing now that systems are starting to get back up and running?
Yeah, good morning. I can tell you that those we've spoken with, they are exhausted. They are frustrated. They've gone through a roller coaster of emotions, but things are looking to be on the rebound here. I mean, things are looking to be improving. And, I have to give credit where credit is due because we have been here now for several hours. Much earlier, there were extremely long lines. There were a ton of people who were frustrated. They had questions, they had concerns, and the Phoenix Airport staff, they actually have been very helpful throughout all of this situation. I watched as they were answering every single person's questions, concerns, and those who were frustrated, they left that conversation with a smile on their face. So that definitely was good news. But there is improvement. So we are here at the Delta ticket counter. You can see the line has almost dissipated, which is good. We also have been following United, Allegiant, some of the other airlines impacted as well. Those lines have gone down significantly, and there are flights that are leaving. It does seem like the people who have flights this morning or later today, they are able to get out. You can see the departure board here. There are a ton of flights that are on time. A couple delays, a couple of cancellations, but so far things are looking really good. Where people are being impacted is the people who had flights overnight that were canceled or grounded because of that tech issue. Unfortunately, one of those people I spoke with was Chris. He is trying to just get back home to Toronto. Chris, tell me about the situation. You have been here overnight. How did
It does unfortunately seem like we did lose Jade there as we're all dealing with some technology issues this morning, but you're getting a real taste there of some of the impacts we are seeing. I also just checked that national FlightAware misery map. I mean, these numbers are huge, that nationwide we're dealing with some of these delays and cancellations. Delays, it says there are 1,400 nationwide and 365 cancellations. Most of those airports being impacted are Atlanta, O'Hare, Charlotte, and Newark. So we're monitoring that for you this morning.
I mean, these are major hubs out there, and we know more than 100 delays and cancellations are coming straight out of Phoenix Sky Harbor this morning. So we'll try and get back with Jade in just a little bit.
We're also reaching out to local healthcare providers to see if their services are affected. Valleywise Health says they continue to provide patient care while some IT systems are impacted. Valleywise says their emergency departments and level 1 trauma center remain open. They are open, and they added that healthcare professionals had to resort to paper medical charting, but that their IT teams are carefully bringing back their systems online. That's the good news this morning. We are starting to see some of that come back.
Yeah, absolutely. And different companies will be affected in different ways, because we spoke with a spokesperson at Honor Health. He's telling us they've had zero issues. They're not affected by this outage, so that's some good news. But throughout this morning and possibly the day ahead, you are going to see how the service interruptions are affecting companies and services in different ways. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the cause of this outage here. CrowdStrike, that's the American cybersecurity company. They appear to have inadvertently caused this disruption. Well, the CEO is now releasing a statement on social media saying they're, quote, actively working with customers impacted by a defect found in a single content update for Windows hosts.
Now, that company is based in Austin, Texas, and they go on to say this is, quote, not a security incident and not a cyber attack. The company says they have identified the issue and a fix has been deployed.
Okay, so this morning, the cybersecurity's founder and CEO ended up speaking with Hoda Kotb from the Today Show. Here's what he had to say.
So first, thank you for giving me the opportunity to chat with you first on air. And I want to start with saying we're deeply sorry for the impact that we've caused to customers, to travelers, to anyone affected by this, including our companies. So we know what the issue is. We're resolving and have resolved the issue now. It's recovering systems that are out there. And essentially, as you've talked about in the statement I put out, is the system was sent an update, and that update had a software bug in it and caused an issue with the Microsoft operating system. And we identified this very quickly and remediated the issue. And as systems come back online, as they're rebooted, they're coming up and they're working. And now we are working with each and every customer to make sure that we can bring them back online.
So right there, you're hearing from the CEO of the company that many believe is behind this worldwide outage we're all dealing with. And we also know it's Friday. That means it's payday for so many people. However, we are hearing this outage is affecting some banks and financial services, which could impact your paycheck.
Absolutely. So 12 News journalist Tricia Hendricks, she's joining us now with more on the impacts from banks here. So Tricia, what have you found out?
Good morning, guys. We're off of State Route 51 and Bell Road at this intersection here. And this ATM apparently not taking direct deposits. Or deposits, that is. We just spoke with a woman who was pulling out of the parking lot, and she said she was able to get cash out of this ATM, but she was not able to make a deposit. So another location, she said she recently was able to. We don't know if this is tied to widespread outages and everything we're covering this morning, but this is something I want to mention because this is top of mind. Also, just across the parking lot, our photojournalist just noticed another sign posted in the Starbucks drive-thru right there saying that they're temporarily closed, working to get things back up and running as soon as possible. So he noticed somebody getting ready to pull through the drive-thru and said, wait a minute. They posted a sign there as well. So it looks like I'm not getting that cold brew that we were planning on before we continue our route around our valley roadways. Traffic not affected from what we can tell right now. We've been taking to the freeways all the way from the East Valley up here to the north part of Phoenix. And some of those message boards from ADOT are dark. We saw that Clear Channel billboard off of the 60 and Country Club Drive where we began our route. And that billboard said recovery. So we are seeing that ripple effect while you're tracking that things are slowly but surely starting to get back up and running from our studio. This is international. So this could, clearly just be the beginning of other things that we start noticing as we continue along our valley road. So we're going to stay on the road. We're going to keep our eyes open for anything that just doesn't look quite right. And again, not confirmed that this woman not being able to make a deposit was tied to this widespread outage, but definitely something that was different this morning. Back to you guys in the studio.
Yeah, Trisha, we're starting to hear more and more people who are having some issues with banks. So we are reaching out to these banks and these branches to find out if possibly this outage is related to the issues people are having at the bank. And also interesting to note, as you mentioned about the local coffee shop there, or actually Starbucks, not that local, right? Starbucks, but very popular, no doubt.
That's
and
right.
So people going who made these plans there, we're seeing, again, the ripple effect and how different companies are being affected. But still need to confirm that at least what's happening at that Starbucks there is related to this outage. It's just giving you an idea of what we're going to have to deal with today.
You got to buckle up on your Friday morning. Pack the patience. And remember, we're all experiencing something that's maybe impacting you in different ways. So we can hopefully all be kind to each other today as we're getting through our Friday.
Well, we're going to need that because we're all also going to be dealing with extreme heat coming over our state. So we want to check in now with meteorologist Jen Wall with your Friday forecast.
Jen, we also have a weather impact alert day activated for both today and tomorrow. And right now you're tracking the dangerous heat, but also the potential for monsoon storms.
Yes, you got it. Good morning to you. Want to thank our awesome IT department right here at 12 News for getting everything back up and running for us so I can bring you your weather report this morning. Here's a look at your satellite radar. Looking fantastic. We're clear in the valley. Slight chance for storms today, tonight. Best opportunity between about 7 and 10 p.m. We're going to keep the clouds northeast and south right now. Let you know if anything pops up throughout the morning. Here's your 7-day forecast. Weather impact alert days today and tomorrow. An excessive heat warning kicks in at 10 o'clock this morning. So just a little less than 4 hours from right now. Highs 114 to 116 in Phoenix. It is dangerously hot out there. We also have a 20% chance for storms today, tomorrow, but take a look at Sunday. 50% chance now in your 7-day forecast. Really hoping that pans out because it seems like these opportunities have been changing each morning that I come in here and put this forecast together. We're still at 113 on Sunday. We have a day below 110 Monday. Also hope that sticks. And storm chances each day next week with highs back up to 112 by Tuesday.
All right, Jen, thank you for helping us get prepared for the weekend and still what's ahead beyond that. As this morning, we are still seeing some systems worldwide that are trying to get back online after a global IT outage. So we're checking in on more of that ripple effect for Arizona communities.
Plus, as Jen just mentioned, it is a weather impact alert day. Jen is always checking that forecast, tweaking it, make sure it's exactly right for you as we're all ready to kick off the weekend. She'll have that and our monsoon storm chances coming up next on Today in AZ. Welcome back to 12 News Today in AZ as we continue to follow breaking news of that global technology outage. The Department of Homeland Security just released a statement. They posted this on the social media site X. They said, quote, they are working with CrowdStrike, Microsoft, and our federal, state, local, and critical infrastructure partners to fully assess and address system outages because we are starting to see that ripple effect this morning. And we know many people just getting their day started here in Arizona and maybe just seeing what some of those impacts are.
Yeah, so this is our way to just try and get you ready for what possibly could be coming. Want to let you know this outage is impacting some banks, airports, businesses across the valley, and hospitals as well. So we will continue to bring you updates as we do get them in this morning. But we look ahead to your weekend plans. It is Friday, although a very busy one, and you're going to want to stay weather aware.
Absolutely. Meteorologist Jen Wall has activated a weather impact alert day for today and tomorrow. This is all due to those dangerous temps and also the potential for monsoon storms. Jen,
yes,
get us ready for the weekend. We're ready for it.
We are ready. We're ready to rock and roll. I think everyone's ready for some rain. We've had enough of this heat. So today, tomorrow, excessive heat warnings in effect. That includes the greater Phoenix area. Those highs 108 to 116. Weather impact alert days issued today and tomorrow right here at 12 News from the National Weather Service. That includes all of the pink that you see on your screen right now. And that does include the Phoenix area too. We also have an air quality alert that is in effect today because of high ozone levels. So kind of that yucky air quality. You're encouraged to carpool. One way to help alleviate that. Low 90s right now in Phoenix, upper 60s, Payson, Prescott this morning. Beautiful up north, 50s, Grand Canyon, Flagstaff, but very warm start to the morning as you're getting south to Casa Grande, Gila Bend, 95. Lake Havasu City, 92, Bullhead City. Here's a breakdown of our outdoor health hazards for you on your Friday. So we have that high pollution advisory. That's today. Allergies, not too much of a concern, but UV index, heat risk, both extreme. Also want to update you on your radar. Very active yesterday morning. We had a very slight chance for storms early this morning, but it looks like we are going to stay dry for now. I'll let you know if anything changes. Your best chances for storms around the valley, the lower deserts, that's going to be tonight from about 7 to 10 p.m. And then even better opportunities really up in the high country. Northern Arizona, those upper elevations, the White Mountains, you're at a 5 and a 6 for our 12 News exclusive monsoon meter. Gusty winds, locally heavy rain and hail. In the valley, if anything does hold together and make it back to the desert, our biggest impacts are going to be those gusty winds. Temperatures today, again, that weather impact alert, and we are looking at topping out around 114 in Phoenix, Gila Bend, 90 Show Low, 100 Glow, 117 Parker, Lake Havasu, 115 Bullhead City. 7-day forecast, keeping today and tomorrow in the red zone with that weather impact alert. Slight chances for storms today and tomorrow, then a better chance on Sunday evening even into early Monday. Still hanging on to that 30% chance on Monday. By next week, still have storm chances and back up to 112 Tuesday, Wednesday.
Thank you, Jen. And you know, we're always keeping our fingers crossed, hoping we get those storm chances. And we know we don't always get a lot of rain here in the valley. That's why when we do, we celebrate. But during monsoon, we know anything is possible. So when there is a big rainstorm, where does all of that water go?
So meteorologist Lauren Rainson is investigating what exactly happens to all of that water and how it affects the local landscape.
The greater Phoenix area is known as the Valley of the Sun for a reason. But when it does rain, where does the water go?
The water that hits the ground from a storm event ends up being untreated and discharging in a place like here, which is one of our City of Phoenix outfalls.
There are 760 outfalls just like this in the City of Phoenix alone. 80 of those are along the Salt River.
If you think of a new subdivision, they'll have a green area that's a low depression. So most of the stormwater from that neighborhood will drain into that basin. And then eventually it'll either percolate into the ground or it may drain eventually to the city.
But not all the stormwater makes it into the ground or the city.
As you increase acidification, as you increase urbanization, you will get additional runoff.
Hydrologist Mike Schaffner explains that this is natural.
You decrease the amount of dirt and grass and natural spaces. And you may also have decreased the amount of vegetation and that type of element, natural element as well.
Even when rain hasn't fallen in months, don't be surprised to see water flowing through a city outfall. Right now, what you're seeing is just excess irrigation water from SRP.
But during a storm, several 100,000 gallons of water will flow through right here. These outfalls work the hardest during a typical monsoon, where much of the stormwater eventually goes. Reporting in Phoenix, I'm meteorologist Lauren Rainson for 12 News.
Well, this morning we do continue to follow a global IT outage.
Right after the break, we're going to let you know how it's impacting some local communities. We're checking in everywhere live for you, from your coffee shop to your local bank and the airport. That's coming up on Today in AZ.
We're turning to your morning money news. The technological meltdown overnight, that's disrupted airlines, banks, hospitals, emergency services. But as we want to focus on the banks right now and payments, because this morning some local gas stations were not able to accept credit or debit cards.
We knew that happened overnight, and then they're telling us now some of their systems are coming back online, which is what we're hearing from many businesses. Internationally, in South Africa, at least one major bank said it was experiencing, quote, nationwide service disruptions as customers reported they were unable to make payments. The New Zealand banks, ASB and Kiwi Bank, said their services were down. And we're working to learn what Arizona customers are facing at their local banks this morning when those doors open, as many people are waiting for their paychecks today. We know it's Friday, so for many that means payday.
And there have been some reports of customers having some issues with the bank this morning, so we are checking in with bank officials to see if they truly are impacted by this outage and what those next steps are for customers. But we want to turn to other money news, because this morning we're also learning more about something that's called secret shopping. Maybe you're guilty of doing this. It is a trend when a partner or spouse hides big purchases from each other just to avoid arguing over spending.
I'm smiling, but that doesn't mean I'm admitting to any guilt here.
Yeah,
right now. You've
I know,
experienced something? I'm not admitting to
not
any secret spending.
Our lips are sealed.
We are checking in this morning with NBC's Christine Romans with more.
Shopping sprees have long been an American pastime.
Get in, loser. We're going shopping.
But as the prices of pretty much everything are on the rise, some shoppers are hiding their retail therapy from their significant others.
My husband found my secret stash in the linen closet.
A new article in the Wall Street Journal calls it stealth shopping and says it's on the rise, with more Americans hiding big purchases from their partners.
Hiding purchases means that something has gone very wrong before you ever swipe the credit card. It means you're not communicating effectively as a couple. It means you haven't created a vision of how you both want to spend your money.
One survey found, on average, secret spenders shell out nearly $475 behind their partners' backs. Another found nearly half of partnered Americans have hidden or lied about financial information to their significant other. Camilla Riley is a school teacher in Irving, Texas. She fills her summer days hunting for bargains, often hiding the evidence from her husband, Roston.
Why are you sneaking packages into your house?
What?
I'm not teaching. And so to pass my time away, I'm on Amazon and ordering from Target. And my husband doesn't really like that much. So typically when the packages arrive, I have to go out, grab them, and sneak them into my closet.
Friends and family reacting to Camilla's social media post admitting her secret, with many saying they do the same thing.
I don't feel alone.
But in the Riley house, it turns out keeping purchases under wraps goes both ways.
What was the last thing you bought, Roston, that you didn't tell her about?
Golf related.
Something golf related. It's always something golf related.
This so-called financial infidelity varies by generation. More than half of Gen Zers and millennials admit to doing it, while 44% of Gen X says they hide their hauls from their partners. Baby boomers are the least likely to keep their purchases from each other. But experts say your savings might not be the only thing that suffers.
Financial infidelity is absolutely devastating. And we have to remember that lying erodes trust, but lying about money destroys it.
Oh, that was Christine Romans reporting. That got serious there at the end.
My goodness. But hey, maybe a little warning as we head into the weekend, as so many of you are looking for a little something to do. Stay away from the heat, right? Okay, still ahead this morning, some systems worldwide just getting back online this morning after a global IT outage. So we're looking at the ripple effect for Arizona communities.
Plus, do not forget, as you mentioned, that heat. It is a weather impact alert day here on 12 News. Meteorologist Jen Wall is joining us with your weekend forecast. That's all next on 12 News Today in AZ. It's Friday.
Well, thanks so much for joining us this Friday morning as we are tracking the aftermath of a global IT outage. I'm Allison Rodriguez.
I'm Emily Pritchard, and we so appreciate you kicking off the morning here with us on 12 News Today in AZ. We know things look a tad bit different. We are having some technical issues this morning, but we are dedicated to bringing you everything you need to know to get your Friday and your weekend started.
Okay, so let's get to those updates now on the global IT outage. We know that outage has since been fixed from overnight, but the impact is still in full effect. So we have team coverage for you this morning, locally and internationally. We start with the Department of Homeland Security sounding off in the last 30 minutes on X that they are working with CrowdStrike. That's the cybersecurity company behind the outage. Also Microsoft and agencies nationwide to assess and address the ongoing system outages.
And Allison, as you mentioned, we are really just starting to feel some of those ripple effects from some of those outages overnight. And here at home, we just learned banks are being impacted as well. We are seeing several people share on social media that they have not received their paychecks. It's Friday. We know many people get paid on Friday. And on social media, Bank of America customers say they've been to several branches where they were unable to use the ATM. Meanwhile, TD Bank says they are experiencing service interruptions. 12 News journalist Trisha Hendricks is out across the valley. She's checking in with a few banks and also some local businesses to learn what we are experiencing right here in Arizona. We'll see her in a little bit.
Meanwhile, overnight, the City of Phoenix dispatch centers, they were impacted. And then about 30 minutes ago, city leaders announced systems have been restored at the police department's 911 call center. But we do want to emphasize at no time were there 911 services. They were not able to be dispatched or get help to people. But they did ask if you ended up calling the non-emergency line during the outage that you're a little bit patient as they work through those calls this morning. Now, the outage started nationally around 9 p.m., started to affect Phoenix dispatch centers within a few hours of that. Thankfully, this morning, Phoenix police say systems are back up and running properly.
The outage is also affecting thousands of flights across our globe. I just checked FlightAware. 1,400 delays and more than 360 cancellations nationwide. This morning, 12 News journalist Jade Cunningham is joining us live from Phoenix Sky Harbor with our local impact. And Jade, you talk about a stressful travel day for thousands of fans as they're trying to make their way right here to Phoenix. We know the WNBA All-Star Game is right here this weekend.
Yeah, I know. We have so many great events happening this weekend in Phoenix, and some people are trying to get here to attend those games and those events, but then you also have people who are trying to get home as well, and everyone is feeling the impacts by this. But, you know, I can tell you that things here at Phoenix Sky Harbor are looking so much better than they did earlier. We got here about 3 o'clock or so this morning, and it was not in good shape, I'll tell you that. Things right now, very quiet. I hate to use that word quiet because I don't want to jinx anything, but I mean, yeah, we are looking really good here at Phoenix Sky Harbor. This is the Delta ticket counter. Much earlier, there was a line that literally wrapped around this room here and all the way down the hallway, but you can see that the line has dissipated. And earlier this morning and all throughout the morning, we have been following this, and we have been speaking with passengers, just trying to get to wherever it is that they're going. I spoke with one family trying to get to Florida. They live here in Phoenix. They were trying to get out. Luckily, they chose to leave a day before the cruise because they were planning on going on a cruise. They left a day before the cruise was expected to take off just in case something happened. And unfortunately, this happened, but it does look like they may be able to make it out on time. And others who also are coming here, you know, they are able to check in their bags, get tickets, and it does look like that planes are leaving. You know, I did speak with one individual. He is just trying to get back home to Toronto. He says it has just been quite an ordeal. He's with his family. The plane they were on yesterday, he told me that it got canceled. Another airplane got canceled that he was supposed to fly out on, and it was just delay after delay, cancellation. And here you can listen to more of what he had to say. Take a listen.
We're looking at finding something, even if like me and my family have to split up to get like, you know, kind of single tickets back home for the weekend. But yeah, so I think we're pushing almost 12 hours now.
So yeah, obviously there's a lot of frustration here this morning, a lot of emotion, a roller coaster of emotions, if you will. One thing that was really interesting, because I asked a couple of people why they didn't just get a hotel and spend the night there, because a lot of people they had to spend the night here at Phoenix Sky Harbor, and they told me that they tried calling some of these hotels, but the hotels weren't able to book them either because they were impacted by this IT security situation. So, just this situation is impacting so many people. It is encouraged that if you are flying out of Phoenix Sky Harbor today, that you reach out to the airline. If you check social media, you give them a call before coming to the airport, just to make sure that everything is set and good to go with your flight. And obviously, if you do come here, just leave plenty of time. Reporting live, Jay Cunningham, 12 News Today in AZ.
Thank you so much, Jade, for sharing all of that. That hotel side of things just goes to show you how many ripple effects there can be during this, and we are just learning some of those issues that people have been experiencing. Meanwhile, we are reaching out to our local healthcare providers to see if their services are affected. Valleywise Health says they continue to provide patient care while some IT systems are impacted. Valleywise says their emergency departments and level 1 trauma centers are open. They remain open. They added healthcare professionals at one point had to resort to paper medical charting, but that their IT teams are carefully bringing back all their systems online.
Okay, so meanwhile, over at Honor Health, a spokesperson is telling us they've had 0 issues. They are not affected by this outage. So we want to turn now to the CEO of CrowdStrike. That's the company behind the outage. Well, he's released a statement on social media saying they are actively working with customers impacted by a defect found in a single content update for Windows hosts. It's so interesting that we say that, because from one company you see how much we're connected and how much can be impacted by something like this.
I'm going to guess this is not the last time we're going to be hearing from this company in the days that follow here. The Austin-based company goes on to say that this is not a security incident. It's also not a cyber attack. The company says they have identified the issue and the fix has been deployed.
So it's just a matter of getting all these systems now back on track. So this morning, the cybersecurity's founder and CEO ended up speaking with Hoda Kotb on the Today Show. Here's what he had to say after the outage.
So first, thank you for giving me the opportunity to chat with you first on air. And I want to start with saying we're deeply sorry for the impact that we've caused to customers, to travelers, to anyone affected by this, including our companies. So we know what the issue is. We're resolving and have resolved the issue now. It's recovering systems that are out there. And essentially, as you've talked about in the statement I put out, is the system was sent an update, and that